Hey, my name's Hayden Bly. I'm the Director of Hope for Suffolk at Westminster Church, and I'm also one of the night stay managers at Westminster Church. So first thing I want to say is thank you. Thank you for helping Westminster Church to be one of the night stay hosts. We can't do this alone. We can't do this without your help. We need lots and lots of people to lend a hand for us to be able to host those who are experiencing homelessness during this season. So thank you. Second, I want to go over the three main things that I want you to get out of this little video. The first one is this. We really need everyone to read the instructions. This is really important. Read what's in the manual that's attached to this email. Read the instructions sent in the email once you sign up. That's your job description. And reread it right before you come. You need to know what you've signed up to do and know exactly what that requires of you. So please read everything that is sent your way. That will help us tremendously. The second thing is that we need you to follow the rules. These rules are set up for two main reasons. It's not just to make things easier or because we like rules. Quite frankly, I don't. But these rules are set up so that we can provide a hospitable, safe environment for our guests in the program. And then secondly, they're set up to ensure the success of the whole program. So let's talk about that hospitable environment. Our guests come from all sorts of situations. We've got everywhere on a continuum. We've got individuals who are choosing to live a homeless lifestyle. There might be some mental health issues involved. There might be drug abuse involved. There might be all sorts of other things involved in that. But individuals who are choosing to live a homeless lifestyle. On the other side of the spectrum or continuum, you have individuals who have suddenly found themselves homeless. This might be their first experience in any sort of shelter or even receiving any sort of public assistance. So that might be a family who suddenly had a house fire. Or it could be somebody who suddenly their house was condemned. We've got all sorts of reasons that individuals can end up, and families can end up homeless really suddenly. So in that continuum, you've got all these individuals from crazy different walks of life who are trying to live together under one roof. And the rules that we have in place enable them to do that successfully. So please, please follow those rules. And then the second part of it, so that we can ensure the success of the whole program. We have dozens of churches involved in the night stay program, which means that you've got lots of different personalities, different settings, different facilities, all sorts of different things going on. So we need to have some continuity through the whole program in order to ensure that we don't throw another church under the bus or set them up for failure. So please, please, please follow the rules. When you hear the rules, when you read the rules, know that those things are there for the success of the program. And they're there because that's what wise love looks like. And we really want to love our neighbors and love the volunteers well and wisely. Often people pit rules versus love. Your options are either follow the rules or love an individual. But really, this is set up so that we can love well. And a lot of really wonderful, smart people have set this stuff up in order to enable us to do that. So first of all, read your instructions. Second of all, follow the rules. And the third major thing that I want you to take away from this video is that if you have any situation where you have any hesitations, questions, uncertainty, you need to get in touch with the night manager or the night stay manager who's in charge of your shift. So every single shift has one of our 5 trained night stay managers. I'm one of them, Hayden Bly. Second, we have Don Leveroni, Carla Sanchez, Todd Schawbach, and Carol Jocelyn. The 5 of us are trained. We know how to answer questions. We know how to handle requests for assistance, emergencies, those sorts of things. You don't need to make a judgment call if you're unsure. You find one of us if we are on site. If it's an overnight shift and one of us aren't there, call us. Our number will be posted. We are on call. We are happy to take those calls at 2 in the morning, whenever it is. So please, please, please do not hesitate to defer to the night stay managers. Again, Hayden Bly, me, Carla Sanchez, Don Leveroni, Todd Schawbach, Carol, Jocelyn. We'll be trying really hard to keep on neon colored caps, t-shirts when we're there so that it's obvious who is the night stay manager on duty. Okay, so let's get into a few specifics. As we get into specifics, what I want you to remember is this. Overall, this is an amazing opportunity for us to love individuals who are going through really, really tough things for all sorts of different reasons, but this is an opportunity to love some of the most vulnerable members of our community, our neighbors. So this is what it looks like to love our neighbor. When Jesus was asked, who is my neighbor? These are the individuals who Jesus might have pointed to if he was asked that today. So as we get into some specifics and those sorts of things, I want you to keep that in mind. We have to go over these rules, but the big picture is that this program provides an unbelievably awesome opportunity for us to be involved with our community in a really special way. Okay, so some specifics. As guests enter and sign in, they need to sign in themselves. Even if you know somebody's name, please do not sign in for them. You might have learned their name from their nickname. It might not be their real name. Or you might get their name wrong. Guess what? We're wrong sometimes. They need to sign in their own handwriting for themselves. If they have a hard time with that, you may help them, but please don't just go through and try to write down everybody's name for them. Second, registration. When guests are filling out their registration form for the first time, usually one of the trained managers would be handling that, but if you are handling that, please make sure they're filling it out completely. When they're asked about medications, make sure you know those things. Because if somebody does see someone with medications, we need to be able to go back and make sure that was listed in there. This is for safety purposes. It's for in case there was some emergency and an ambulance needed to be called, we need to be able to provide as much information as possible. So make sure guests fill out their registration forms completely. If someone says that they need help filling that out, you can sit with them and fill it out, but they need to verbally tell you what to put there. Next, mattresses. We use air mattresses, and a lot of times they require several blow-ups in order to hold air well if they're a new mattress. So if a guest tells you their mattress is leaking, you can change it out, but then take that air mattress and try to inflate it a few more times in order to make sure there's really a leak. Because often there's not a leak, it's just an issue of it's stretching out, and so it seems to be leaking, but it's just stretching, and it takes a few initial inflations for it to hold air well. Next, blankets. Each guest is to be given one sheet and one blanket only. That might seem like a jerk move when there's a whole bunch of blankets sitting around, but here's why. We don't have enough blankets to give every guest two and to be able to launder the blankets in between churches. So we must only give them one blanket. If a guest would like something for a pillow, towel's a great option there. If a guest says that they're cold, we just have to encourage them to, maybe they need to put on some more clothes. If we need to adjust the thermostat, we're happy to do that. So once again, for that, you would go to the night stay manager on duty. And if there isn't one present, again, call us. We're happy to walk you through that. I can, from my own home, adjust the thermostat remotely. So please don't hesitate to call. All right, next we've got announcing the rules. Every single evening the rules should be announced, even if there's nobody new. Even though the rules don't change, it's too easy for a guest to say, oh, well, I didn't know that was a rule. And so announcing them every night just ensures that, well, we did announce them, you are required to follow them. We've had some situations where rules haven't been followed in a way that puts somebody else in danger and makes us, it forces us to follow up and potentially tell them they're not welcome to continue to attend. So we need to make those rules completely clear every single evening. Next, police will be stopping by most nights, sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the middle of the night, sometimes in the evening. We're so grateful for their partnership. Sometimes they'll be bringing a guest, sometimes they're just checking in. Don't feel that they're there to cause any issues. They're there just to make sure everything's good, and we're grateful for that. So please treat them with hospitality. Offer them food if we have it, if it's during a mealtime. coffee, make them feel at home. Next, name tags. Please wear a name tag with your first name. That's just, again, a way for us to provide some hospitality, and we're asking them to wear a name tag, so it's just a gracious thing for us to do as well. We have at the registration table, there will be a notebook, and that's for you to share any notes that need to be passed on to the next volunteer team. Let me give you an example. Last year we had a gentleman who was deaf, and one of the volunteers communicated to somebody else that he was really rude and not compliant and wouldn't listen, that he was ignoring instructions from volunteers. But the issue was he was deaf, and the volunteer didn't know that. So because he could read lips, people didn't communicate that to the next set of volunteers. So she wasn't aware that he just couldn't hear her when she was trying to give instructions. So that would have been helpful for volunteers to know. So that sort of thing, make sure you put that in the book. Mr. John is deaf, so if you're speaking to him, make sure that he can see your mouth as you're speaking. Any sort of issue like that, anything that needs to be communicated to other volunteers that would help them to better serve our guests. Next, all of the overnight volunteers, somebody needs to be in view of the sleeping rooms at all times. That's for their own safety. It's to prevent anyone from accusing somebody else of stealing from them. It's to ensure that everything is fine. So please make sure that at least one volunteer is in view of the sleeping rooms at all times. Next, we do not provide individual transportation for our guests personally. If a guest is in need of transportation, say for a job, at a different time from the bus, something like that, then get in touch with your night stay manager who's on duty. We can arrange for an Uber or a taxi or some professional service. This is a really, really important thing. We've had some issues in the past that have caused a great deal of heartache and expense. So just unfortunately, due to the brokenness of our world, we need to not provide individual transportation personally. Now, if somebody needs it, we will be happy to arrange it. So again, get in touch with your night stay manager on duty. Next, some guests may arrive late. Somebody might show up after the doors are locked. That's fine. We have no problem with that. We still have them come in and fill out their form if they haven't already. There's no problem with a guest arriving once the doors have already been locked. And especially if the police are bringing someone, don't deny that. Unless somebody has been kicked out of the program, which you'll have that list in the book at the registration table, or if they're blowing high on a breathalyzer. Okay, or also if they show up on the sex offender registry. We do need to double check that if somebody arrives at night, unless the police bring them. In that case, the police have already screened them. Incident reports. If there is any sort of incident, somebody has to go to the emergency room, somebody threatened somebody else, there was an injury, there was a fight, whatever it is, please fill out an incident report. That will be in the notebook on the registration table, and that's really important for us to communicate. We communicate all of those directly to Cheryl Griffin, the night stay administrator, who's in charge of the whole program, so that she can keep tabs on things and ensure smooth transition between churches and make sure that things continue to run smoothly. So fill out incident reports if anything happens. And the final thing is this: we do not transport people's personal belongings from one church to another. So if an individual leaves items there at the church, we do not transport it. Make sure that our guests know that. Do not offer to do that. There's a lot of reasons for that. We've been accused of stealing things in the past because it's somehow gotten lost in transition, or all sorts of other things happen. But we do not, black and white, we do not transport personal belongings from one church to another. If an individual leaves their belongings at the church, we are not responsible for those belongings. They might make that decision to leave them there, but we aren't responsible for them, and we certainly will not be transporting them. So please be sure to make that clear to our guests. And that's it. So once again, 1, read your instructions. When you click on the sign up link, you will see a really brief job description. But once you've signed up for that, you'll receive an email which has detailed instructions for whatever job you've signed up for. Read it, know what you're doing when you come in. Second, follow the instructions and the rules. If it says that you need to be there at 6 o'clock a.m., don't decide, oh, well, it's okay, I don't need to be there early for breakfast. Because guess what? At all times, we have to have 3 volunteers. Those shifts are designed to ensure that there are always 3 volunteers on duty. So if you show up late or you decide to peace out early, then you are putting somebody else in a position where they have to stay longer, or you're putting them in a position where we don't have enough volunteers on site at the time. So follow the instructions and the rules. And third, make sure you make use of those night stay managers. Myself, Carla Sanchez, Todd Schallbach, Don Leveroni, and Carol Jocelyn. We are here to enable you to serve well. Do not be afraid to use us. Again, thank you so much. I'm thrilled about the opportunity to serve with you this year. I have seen so many people be changed as a result of this program, and I have myself, so I'm looking forward to this year. Thank you.